Alrighty guys, big score. You guys remember I got this from Wish. It was very thin wire that I thought was heavier gauge, so I got kind of ripped off on that, but there's a ton of length here, and this type of gauge should be fine for my LED lights. It should not. LED lights hardly use any juice, I'll tell you that. So especially running direct off of 12 volt. So I'm going to use this wiring, and this should be just fine. I'm hoping. This is some thin wire. I'll show you in a minute. I'll get closer to the camera. This stuff is like, I think, a step up from well, maybe a couple steps up from telephone wire. And actually, so I don't cut myself, I'm going to use this casing as a little base, so when I slice the wires in half with the box cutter, like so, things are good. So the nice thing about this, it's pre-labeled positive and negative, so I don't have to tape anything. I'll put that back together over there, get rid of the screws. So what I need to do now, obviously, is strip some wire. Now sometimes with this smaller stuff, you can just go like that, and it pops right off. Especially when it's cold and brittle in the tiny house. There we go. So this looks like aluminum wire, and I'm going to twist that together. Now, the only thing is, copper and aluminum wire do not get along. After a while they kind of oxidize and stuff happens. Stuff that you don't need happening ever. So you can see this stuff's pretty thin, guys. Yeah, that's pretty thin there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip some more wire and double this stuff up. What I mean by that is I'm going to bend this stuff back down onto one another, kind of pinch it together, so I have a little bit more thickness of wire before putting it in that connector. Now the connector, which is nice, is, I don't know if the metal inside is aluminum, the tabs in there, but the nice thing about that is the copper and the aluminum are not directly in contact with one another. Hopefully I don't run into issues, right? But like I say, there's not a lot of power going to be running through this thing, and that's kind of the main goal. So you guys remember, I've now extended the wires, I've twisted them around one another. Now what I need to do, I'll probably have to take my glove off to do this. I'm going to take a piece of wire here, and I'm going to bend it back onto itself like so. And then I'm going to give that a twist, and that will wrap around its counterpart and build up the material so it's half decent for going into a connector. So I'm going to do the same on this side. Okay. Now there is a special paste you can buy when you attach aluminum to copper wire, and I believe it prevents it from doing the nasty and possibly causing fires. So I don't need fires or anything like that in the tiny house, but we're gonna do a trial run and we'll see exactly how this works. So now that that's done, I hook this end, the positive to positive, so the red to the red, into the connector, nice and tight, good. And then black to black. Same. Push in nice and tight. Make sure it's not wiggling around too badly. So that is now connected to a whole ton of wire. Now, obviously, I'm going to disconnect that for now because I need to run this wire and then mount the light somehow, obviously up above on the ceiling. And then I'll have to charge my camera battery because the wonderful light on here that's awesome is really bright and likes to drain the battery of the camera. But that's fine. So, in order to figure this out, guys, I'm going to have to scrounge for scrap wood and basically put a piece of wood probably going across this way and attaching it, obviously, and run the... Now, I don't really want to run it horizontally. I want to run it vertically down the stretch of wall this way. That way, you know, I just don't have one area that's kind of lit up. And actually what I want to do is put the light almost this way, further past the window, because the window does give a little decent light near the tool pantry. And then I'm going to put a light inside here anyway, later on as another project. But that little work table's already coming in super handy. So I need to add a light fixture across here. Obviously I can't screw into the spray foam. I need to mount, maybe I have a leftover 1x2 that I can run across. I'm just going to have to run it across horizontally. What I'll do is I'll do it right here, which is kind of like the halfway point. Run it across, and then maybe run the wiring along this side above the doorway so I won't see it, and then down into here where it will be wired in, which is fine. So I'll have to do that. But first, I need to charge up the camera. So I'm gonna have to shut you guys down. Let's see how warm it is in the tiny house before we do that, though. I'm sure I've been filming for at least an hour now. It is 37 degrees Fahrenheit, 37.2 Fahrenheit inside, 57% humidity, which is awesome. It is 20 Fahrenheit outside at 68% humidity. And yeah, my sensor caught up. That's good. So, it's getting cozy in here finally. Once it, actually guys, to tell you the truth, once this temperature gets to about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, my coat comes off. That's how comfy I am in here. Other than the shoes stay on for the floor because the floor is hellishly cold. And to be honest, I love the look of my floor, but if it wasn't so damn cold, and I really can't do anything about that unless I cover the floor with like foam matting, and that should help keep the cold off my feet. But obviously it's looked like hell in here. But I can't do anything about the flooring until I get my own land, because then I can run skirting. And also I'm going to be thinking about running a thermoelectric generator, closed loop water system that will heat the floor and other parts of the tiny house via rads. But that's for later projects when Rob has money. Unfortunately, the money has run dry. Christmas is over, and I had to get some essentials like shoes and pants. But other than that, I didn't spend too much money, other than I now have a nice work table for working. And so I gotta put this camera on charge. The battery's flashing at me that it's dead, but I will return in a bit once it's charged up.